agada
ke mbijan raganya
albaka
mbaka important
yo nga transfer la sto
ya transfer la
ha code nyinji
okay for sana nsila id soto
sa soto sorry agada
mbijan bro
albaka
mbaka
bara alla service o tariya
bare
mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya
jannom yona forest de bureau gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere birim koyna fo kato
bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolon labe
56 branches mola soto gambia jam
ha
gambia kono ani gambia bantala bankol nko kodo kiya bere kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw jannom number 1 ti nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dir fana be teata gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelenta
baraka ni ma lafta nyelan kendol e bina
yalo bu kanila ko la baraka ba
yalo ndel ciosano lo
baraka
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data is fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
Welcome to the Brunch on Kerr Fatou. I'm Lamin Cham with your weekly current affairs program that comes your way live every Saturday afternoon. Now, this week we will, as usual, continue with our discussion of the current affairs, that is the major stories that
occupied the country. We will take off from where the Inspector General of Police, Abdullah Sanyang, ends his tour. What are the key security issues he has dealt with, and the country's general security situation vis-a-vis the security reform. We have an expert in the studio to help us with his perspective on that. The Gambia has been banned by the United Nations for licensing rosewood trading. We will talk to journalists who did an extensive work on the trade, which has caused a lot of controversy around the Gambia and in the sub-region. Plus, we will follow the pilgrim's progress, so to speak. 900 Gambians are set to go to the Hajj, 2 years since the country could not go because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is Lavin Chang once again, so welcome. Now, let me begin by introducing my guest today, security expert, Mr. Kebba Gibba. Kebba is also he's a retired army officer, actually a major. He's now a lecturer at the University of the Gambia, Public Administration. He's also the Chief Security at the University of the Gambia. He's got a lot of background on security matters. So, welcome, Kebba. We will also have, of course, Ustaz Imam Leigh, like I said, when we follow the pilgrim's progress. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Cham. I am very much grateful for giving me this opportunity to partake in this very important program by Kerr Fatou.
Yeah.
And I think it is important that Gambians have this kind of platforms to also be part of those that will inform the Gambia at large about our current issues, especially when it comes to matters of importance to the state. And security is key to the survival of any country.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
now, you have followed the trip of the IGP. I mean, that is police component, of course, but being a security expert, you know,
indeed.
He had gone to meet communities, his colleagues and juniors in the field, etc., etc. Now, he came, and of course, in the wake of the analysis that followed, many questions were raised now. How can he achieve the objective of reducing crime in this country? Don't you think the police have the formula, what it takes now?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Cham. I think it's a very important question. When we look at the history of the Gambia Police Force, from their various, those that were in charge of the police, date back, I'm going to say from the 94, we have various Inspector General of Police. And it is like a routine. Once you are appointed as the Inspector General of Police, we have seen it's becoming a routine from them that they also had to embark on a tour, just like the predecessor. So I think sometimes it is a mismatch when you look at it, because what I understand from even in the administration perspective, your boss, he's working with you all along, and once he's relieved from his position and you come up, there are reports that he has written, consciously to ensure that this becomes, whosoever comes would pick it from there. But they make it a point of a duty for themselves that they also want to go and then have interface with the police themselves and the community. So that is not bad, but it's like sometimes one will look at see to it that it's misuse of resources at some point, because you need to go to the drawing board, look at what your predecessor has done, and then see what are the areas that needs to be addressed. He being assistant police officer, he has served for more than 30 years. So he knows the problem of the police. There's nothing like you going back to the police and ask them again. Major problems of the police are capacity building, and again logistics, mobility. I did my research on that, on crime control and prevention, and you can see the problems that during my research, I was able to get it and relate it to the developing countries policing. We have similar challenges. So those challenges are mobility, capacity building, mapping on how to tackle this crime control that you saying, especially in the urban center, where every now and then, every week, we have seen series of crimes being committed. So what can police IG do that? It's all what he needs to do is to make sure that he developed a plan for this. And usually you have a mapping. You map to know the hotspots. Understand the hotspots, and then you can able to deploy your police to areas of concerns, and it could be addressed. And logistics is also a problem. You walk to a police station, they don't even have mobility. They have to tell you, the complainant, to provide a vehicle for them. What is it? Is that what we talking of a police? No. When you travel to Ghana, you see the government also has a key role to do. That is to ensure they provide operational vehicles for the police. Not these pickups that we are seeing. These are luxurious. They are not meant for police operations.
I see.
They are not. They need to get the vehicles that would also serve. That would serve the at least will have a duration of 5 to 10 years.
I see.
Without using these luxurious.
So you mean the pickups that are too common with the Gambia police are naturally for luxurious things. There are vehicles suitable or specially made for police operations.
Yes, they have. The police have their special operational vehicles. Some of them have operational vans. When police are moving, especially the anti-crime unit, the purpose of the anti-crime unit is to deter crime. So to deter crime, not to arrest. The key is to deter. So once there is deterrence, then you achieve your objective of preventing crime.
Many people think the anti-crime, it's so strategic that they, even if, of course every security's meaning is, objective is deterrent. But where it occurred already, many people view anti-crime as the unit, suitable to tackle such kind of issues that can even lead to violence or controlling violent people or something like that.
Yeah, because when you look at anti-crime, you cite other countries. The anti-crime is more of a paramilitary, unit. They also have specialized. It's a special unit from the police. But when you look at their movements, there is no. They are moving with little, logistics. So one would say that some of us who understand the security aspect of the movement of troops, personnel, you sometimes wonder whether they're going to achieve the intended purpose. Because the anti-crime unit is supposed to be, they have all kinds of communication gadgets. Check whether they have it. They must also have community. When you talk about community, they must have officers or their personnel station in different hotspots, and they have to be also informed. They have communications where when you want to call a police officer in a particular region, like at the Old Yundum, for instance, you make a mapping, and that is one. You come to Tabokoto, you make all this mapping. So not necessarily the ones at station at Banjulundi, at the training school, should be the one to go there. Because they need to be swift. The quick reaction force must be there. There must be a reaction force, just like in the military. They are on standby waiting. And you look at the challenges also in our current road traffic. Once there's a crime, can the police, will they be able to swiftly address that? No, because it's going to take them time. The traffic jam would eventually cause delay, and crime is going to be committed. And before they reach at the where the crime is committed, the perpetrators have already gone. So where is it? So these are some of, they have to understand the mapping to understand which roads, in case there is an emergency. I tell you, when there's an emergency in the country, my friend, we will have a lot of trouble, because there's no route.
He mentioned also the importance of police, community policing. In your experience as a security expert, how much a success do you think community policing have in the overall security or prevention of crime in the country?
Yeah, because community policing, when you look at community policing, it's all about having, deploying your police officers and having that interaction with the communities. Because the police, their primary mandate is to protect the lives and property. And their relationship with the communities must be very, very cordial.
Yeah.
Must be so cordial to the extent that anything that is going to cause a threat to, to a particular community, you have your community members who would also call you immediately. That's sharing of information that could be, that the police may address, and at this instant you'll see to that they'll be able to achieve that. But their relation with the community is paramount as far as community policing is concerned. It's key. So therefore, their relation with the communities, thereby giving them communications numbers, lines, where communities would know. But now, when you call a community, the police on that community policing, their challenge is mobility. How would they come? Okay. So you could be caged in your house. That's a robber, a robber waiting for you, knocking. You are calling the police. They tell you that we don't have a car, we don't have a vehicle to come to that. At the end of the day, the community would lose confidence in the police. So how do you regain that confidence? Is thereby, supporting government community to play to support the police, to make sure that the communities are safe.
We also receive information. Well, they don't want to call it closure, but we receive information that there are certain posts that they found to be unfit for operations for the police, so they had to shut it down. Or they don't want to use the word close it, but then they wanted to put them in somewhere where it will be conducive to police the environments. How do you see that?
I think the current IG, these are things that he was deputy IG for so long. He has been a deputy inspector general
police for all his life.
Yes, and he has reached to that epic of deputy inspector general police. Under.
But he's been commissioner of administration.
Yeah,
so
he
many
knows.
other
You, as a deputy IG, you are the key, figure who supports the inspector general of police. He will not tell us that he he don't know that there are some existing police stations that don't even fit to be called a station.
Station, yes.
Because you look, it becomes an, I
heard him say
I saw it on Facebook. There are some police stations in the provinces.
Yeah.
You see it. Yeah. It's like, is it is it a fuller house? They call it a police.
Be careful.
So
there's a fuller in the house.
So yes, I know. This is why I'm provoking him. Okay. That could be a fuller house. It's not a Jonah house.
Yes.
So
and they call it a police station.
That police station. I said this is an insult to the police. You go to the closest area. That is opposite that high school in Brikama, Botrop. That police post. Yeah. Look at the structure it is. So sometimes you wonder in the country. I am the head of the police, and I have guards. I built them a cement house, very neat. That is for my even my watchman. But you walk to that corridor, you see it's a mud house, not even fit for a police station. It's not fit. You look at the structure. That is an entry point. Yeah. Those coming from the Senegal, southern part of Senegal are passing and they're looking at the structure. Okay. That's where you look at the unseriousness of
a security institution.
Of a security institution, but by extension, by the government itself.
I see.
Are they ready to support the security structures, the architecture? Yeah. So looking at that, you look at that structure, it is not fit. They should demolish it. Look at beside, you have a forestry. If forestry is able to build a structure with cement and put it to,
so you mean at least every police post should have a decent, it should be a decent facility.
It's part of motivation and welfare. That is part of motivation.
That's what the IGP said. Yes. That's led to the closure, or let's say relocation of some of the issues.
No, I think
they didn't say close, but relocating them to decent places.
72 hours ago, at Fatou, the police are still occupying there.
Oh, you mean there are still facilities that are below standard?
No, that is where he identified from where I read on the newspapers. Fatou is part of the post that had to be shut down. But have they shut them down? They are still existing.
Yeah, maybe that's a feature to relocate them.
You shut it.
Okay.
You can put up a mobile police to be stationed there.
Okay.
And if there's any report, they can swiftly, move to Busumbara police station. That's a station in Busumbara.
He also talked about the welfare of the police. He said their welfare. I mean, and when that comes, you talk in terms of their remuneration, salaries, allowances, and stuff like that. Of course, we know there's going to be general revision or upward revision of salaries by July, if the government's promise is anything to go by. But don't you think, in your experience, security also needs, motivation? I mean, they are not like teachers and nurses who make noise, maybe because of their ethics or their way of administration. But if there is going to be a look at their welfare, I think the police too deserve it.
No, it is quoted across
how much you
all,
think,
all the security institutions.
Yeah. How much facilities?
From the armed forces,
yeah,
to the police, to the National Intelligence Agency, you call it SIS here.
They are poorly paid.
The remunerations is poorly paid.
It's very poor.
I tell you, when I was in the military as a major,
I
was retired, and then I had to see. I saw myself in the another set, institutions.
In the academia now.
In the academia.
Yeah.
And my first salary, I was a graduate assistant. When I was paid, I was saying, "Wow, is this
what they call?
Is this a mistake that they have paid me to this?"
Okay.
But in these security services, the remunerations is poorly paid. Look at a private soldier who will earn, all his.
I don't know whether it is ethical to disclose the exact amount, but we know it's very small.
It's too small that it is only for a first money in a month, or you can't. Even my own first money, I cannot.
You cannot meet up.
You cannot meet up. So they have challenge. So the individual, the police, the armed forces, their pay needs to be at least better, so that they will be at ease once they are at their respective post. They're able to deliver.
Exactly.
Because you will not be thinking that my wife has asked me for first money, and I'm just going to work without any first money. That guy will not fall on.
All right.
Yeah. So it is important that the government ensure that the police, the armed forces, the other security, institutions have a better pay, a decent living condition as well.
We will come to your specific area. That's the army. I mean, you are a retired major, mark you. This is the Brunch. I'm talking to Kebba Gibba, a retired major from the Gambia Armed Forces, now a lecturer of public administration at the University of the Gambia, and also the chief security officer at the University of the Gambia. We will talk more on your specialties. Especially we have the ban on Rosewood trade coming, and as a security expert, you may have insights into that. We now, so to speak, follow the pilgrim's progress. Now, about 900 Gambians will leave this night, starting this night, of course, to tomorrow, for Saudi Arabia, the Holy Land, to perform the Hajj. It's been 3 years or so since the Gambia last participated in that very important pillar of Islam. Now, the Gambia Hajj Commission, so to speak, and the Gambia government, working on other stakeholders, such as the travel agencies, have been busy putting together their packages and ensuring that the Gambia takes part in this year's Hajj. But the normal allocation have been drastically reduced to 900 only. How is the Hajj Commission, the National Hajj Commission, dealing with this? Or how have they dealt with it? What are the other protocols in place? And how prepared is the Gambian contingent? Well, with us in the studio is, of course, Al-Ustaz Imam Babali, who is also a member of the Gambia Human Rights Commission, of the Gambia Human Rights Commission. Mr. Leigh, welcome, Imam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having me.
Good. A lot of Gambians, of course, have been following the pilgrims' preparation this year. They are worried about only 900 when there are people who must have deposited money since the COVID, pandemic. How did you, Commission, as far as you know, knowledge goes, how were they able to work out this thing to ensure that those who really deserve to go and have made their payments on time are on the plane today and tomorrow?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's been a very, very difficult situation to deal with. But, Cham, we are very much privileged as Gambians. Gambians have patience.
Yes.
Especially when they know that you are doing the right thing.
Okay.
It was a very difficult situation to select 905 people to perform the Hajj this year. But it can be very easy as well if people understand. And our work was so transparent where each and every pilgrim knows how they are selected and why they are going and why others are not going. We deal with the situation in a very good formula, that is first come, first serve.
Okay,
because as
it's very important. First come, first serve.
First come, first serve.
You know, we last went to Mecca in 2019.
Exactly so.
Okay.
By the time this pandemic took place, there was already people deposited. So those people have been given the priority to perform this year, and others have been dropped simply because of the high number that is reduced. Because the Gambian quota was 2,000 pilgrims.
Yes.
And you can imagine from 2,000
it was 100% reduction.
Yes, reduced
over
to
100%. Over 100%.
905,
over 100%.
and with the compilement of pilgrims still buying tickets and preparing to go because it had never been stopped. Any pilgrim who came to...
So there is a backlog of
exactly,
intending.
Exactly. There was a lot of backlog. But since they realized that it's beyond our control, and not only Gambia is affected, it's the whole world. Senegal used to have a quota of 18,000 pilgrims. It's reduced to almost 4,000 pilgrims.
Wow.
So you can imagine how difficult it is. But since Gambia was not the only country that is affected, and we did it first come, first serve, pilgrims become very patient, and the privilege also was given to Gambian citizens. Non-Gambians who used to pass through Gambia and perform the pilgrim have been dropped simply because citizens have been given the priority. And I mean, hopefully the situation will be solved very soon, as the pandemic is almost saying bye-bye to us. The quota might be returned again to it. And as you know, the cost also rocketed to a very, very, very high level. It's almost $500,000
exactly now
for one pilgrim. That due to the economic situation of the whole world today. You can imagine 1 liter of petrol used to cost Gambian $49. Now it's almost $80. And so it is in Saudi, in all over the world. And all those exhibiting prices have to be met by the poor pilgrim.
So is there any special issues about Gambia, like unique difficulties, like the lack of a national airline, for example? You know, the difficulties are the same all over the world, but is there any unique problem, our own problem, that, you know, is only peculiar to us? For example, our lack of a national airline, so we have to, operators have to charter. Isn't that not also?
Well, it can be an additional difficulties, but still it costs the same, because having national airline cannot save you from buying the expensive fuel and from paying the flight overrides, landing rights, and all many rights, handling rights and the like. So at times you can even see chartering a flight can be even cheaper than
convenient,
having your own flight, because there are a lot of costs and risk in it, because when you are flying from Gambia to Saudi...
I was thinking of subsidies. These days you think of government subsidizing things. So, but if, for example, government doesn't even have an aeroplane in the first place, they cannot hope to subsidize.
Well, I think nobody need to be told about the difficulty that the government is facing with subsidies. You are talking about subsidizing fertilizer, subsidizing rice,
everything,
subsidizing sugar, subsidizing water, subsidizing, you know what I mean? And Hajj It's unobligatory, of course, but to those who can afford it.
Absolutely.
So if you...
In fact, that's what has been said.
Exactly.
Cardinally, that is
yes,
when you can
exactly. So if you can afford it, well, then you are in a position to pay it. And you know, Saudi have commercialized everything now and in a very expensive price because they are not going to lose. So you see, they reduce the number of pilgrims, but if you look at it between the lines properly, you will see they are not to lose financially. They may have limited number of people, but they will catch up with the price. That makes it more expensive again. But as you know, Muslims with their strong faith, no matter what it costs,
still go.
They will go. There are people right now struggling to go still.
Yes, even now I know people who are asking.
Exactly, and the departure.
Is there any package available?
Exactly, by 8 o'clock, all the pilgrims are at the airport.
Today.
Preparing to go.
Today is the first flight.
Exactly. Today
How many are going today?
Well, I don't exactly get the number, but I know you have 2 flights today and tomorrow. And the first batch will be leaving this evening. And the other
midnight, rather.
Exactly, the other flight, the other batch will be leaving by tomorrow. Whatever it is, rest assured, the government have done beyond expectation in terms of getting their pilgrim. There are still other countries, they are not yet even ready because of the difficulty of the new technology introduced. If you can remember a few years back, there used to be a team from Saudi to come and visa our pilgrims. Yes, but now everything is electronically done, and you have to sit here and log in and try to locate where to get your visa and the like. It's not an easy thing. So that's why the operators generally deserve a big thank you for that matter. They have done a lot of job, including the government, the ministry, and the Amiru Haji as well. Really, it's not an easy task. It's a difficult thing, and it's getting more difficult.
And it's getting more expensive. So I just what I want to explore with you, the ordinary Gambian, $500,000 now, you have $1 million. Of course, you know that is a question of affordability. But is there a way that we can work around it to make it a lot cheaper? I remember in 2006, I was involved in the pilgrim package of one of my relatives. Not that I contribute, but I know how much. It was $60,000.
Actually, it was far less than that, little bit small bit. But, you know...
What do you think can be done to...
What can be done, number one, is to deal with the foreign exchange.
The foreign exchange.
Because when you talk about Hajj, you are talking with dollars, pound and the like. It's not with dollars. And the rate is very expensive. I think the dollar is over $50 plus. And you talk about the euro, is the same.
Even higher.
Exactly. If government is in the position to knock down that price, that rate, the operators can make it a little bit cheaper. But I wonder if government can do that.
They have them. When they are trying, they came out with measures they think that will not dollarize, according to them, our economy. But then this one cannot be helped. You
know, the control.
External factors.
The control can be very much limited as a liberal, free country. You know, Gambia, we're in a liberal market. And in the liberal market, people are complaining of price control. You cannot have price control in a liberal market. I had our brother at the central bank, Buasedi, putting up certain measures and the like. I hope they can work, but it will be very much difficult because, you know, the business in the Gambia is predominantly occupied by non-Gambians.
That's where the problem
and that will make it more difficult. And
he doesn't want, for example, forests to be sent away from us.
Of course, even our ordinary laborers are not Gambians. If you go to the construction, tough construction, Jigo construction, and other construction, they are foreigners. They are working here to get their money out of the country.
Like Gambians do in Europe and America.
Exactly. That's why you are seeing Gambians also performing the Hajj. 90% of them, they are not paid from Gambian salary.
It's their people.
Exactly, it's their people abroad sending their monies. So if you think globally, you will tend to accept the idea of allowing the dollar to circulate. But I believe as time goes on, Gambians become more conscious of the necessity of buckle up, tightening our belt to work harder.
And
because
owning our own.
Exactly, to work hard is the only solution. We can only solve our problem if we are in the field doing the job with our hands. If not, nobody will do it for us. Mr. Chairman.
Good. So I also heard that people were asking the differences in the packages. Like the Gambia International Airlines, of course, being the public one, has a relatively cheaper package, 420 or something. I understand this is, this is of course due to the fact that the various travel agents may have packages that may differ from one another, and therefore that's why the price is a little bit.
Yeah, the difference of the packages is commercial competition.
Yes.
Each and every operator is trying to motivate their pilgrims in order to make a better market in terms of location where they are going to lodge their pilgrims. Because the closer you are to the haram, the more expensive it is.
I see.
And at the same time, operators are providing suitcases and other extraordinary facilities for them, and all those facilities goes with cost. Because this is not most of them, this is not their first price, but their first price was a little bit more expensive. But when it comes to the commission, having the mandate of looking at it and seeing the necessity, we ask some of them to reduce, and they comply. They reduce it, but you see the difference is not that much.
Not much, yeah.
And government, GIA being the government agency, they supposed to have more facility. And they are the host also. They are the negotiators, of all the aircrafts coming here. And they have a very good and kind of relationship with our civil aviation also.
Of course.
They know how to work it out. It's a business issue that I may not know exactly how they make it out. But none of them make a business to lose. All of them will have something to take home.
Okay. So the flights are today and tomorrow. I understand, of course, some people ask, how do you arrive at, how to call it, let's see, selecting the passengers on the first flight and the second. I was told that for the first flight, all the operators have been asked to give half of their clientele so that every operator will have a passenger on the first flight so that there will be no discrimination.
Actually, when it comes to taking Gambian pilgrims out of the country, there cannot be any discrimination. As I told you in the beginning, operators, including GIA, they operated in a very transparent way, that first come, first serve. So being the case, each and every operator also have been giving a number that they can start with, and they make sure that their quota will be, lifted to Saudi Arabia. None of them will be left out, inshallah, as planned. Say by after tomorrow of this time, all of them are on the way to Saudi, inshallah.
Would have gone. And how representative is the Hajj committee? The Emir Hajj himself is gone, and
well, actually, the rent is not as it used to be due to economical factors and the number of pilgrims. You only have the Hajj Amir, who is Imam Usman Jah, and Buba Sanyang, that is the PS of Religious Affairs, representing the ministry, and the commission secretary, who will be leaving maybe after tomorrow for the CC. They are the only people there for the commission, and they will work hand in gloves with the guides of all agencies, because all operators have their own guides also. And in addition, they will find some Gambian students there who will also give a helping hand. Voluntarily. Voluntary, and some their relatives are there. I strongly believe with 905 people
easily managed.
will be safely managed, really, because there is the will to help them, and those who went have the experience and the ability to help. So taking the whole commission as it used to be, the economic situation cannot allow it, unless and until we have our vote as usual, and then we have our feedback
I am
in order.
to that. How is the commission funded?
Well, the commission is funded by levy from the operators, and the other part there is a contribution from the government, from the budget.
But who constitutes the authority? Is the government or the operators, stakeholders?
You mean the authority of the commission?
Of the commission, yes.
No, the commission is constituted by the president himself. Yes, he selects the commissioners, and then they look at their criteria and their ability and their functions. Okay. So they become commissioners, and then they have the mandate to supervise all the Hajj and Umrah issues, activities in this country. Because, as you know, Gambia is a religious country, and from there the operators also pay their levies to the commission. That's the way they get their funding.
Okay. Now, what sort of issues do you normally, or complaints do you normally get, maybe from pilgrims or about their travel agents, or sort of in a normal Hajj issue like in Mecca? What sort of issues do you?
No, actually, you know, when it is centralized,
okay,
you have more complaints than when it is decentralized. Because when it is decentralized, it's a big competition, and that competition also at times yield good response. That is, you know, if you do extra, you will get extra. If you don't do extra, you will not get extra.
Yes.
Whereas it's a different when it is centralized. Right. Of course, the centralization also had its own benefit, because the centralization can knock the price down, because you will have all the pilgrims on one location in terms of hoteling, in terms of aircraft, in terms of local transportation in Saudi, so that itself can knock the price down. But Gambia being what it is, in their democratic dispensations, citizens has right to participate in their business, and business in this country is, kind of liberalized. Nobody has the power to control it. So everybody is participating, and that itself can make it very expensive, but can make it also very comfortable by having a high price, but those who have the money can buy it.
Okay, Mr. Gibba, before we let him go, any issues on your observations on the Hajj here that you want to put him to clarify?
Yeah, I just want to ask him. He said in terms of the regulation of the Hajj, the payment when you stocked on the prices, the different prices by different operators, and he said they have to control. They, as a commission, they have to control and regulate. So there must be a ceiling for it, so that all operators must not exceed a particular ceiling.
Okay.
So perhaps I think that is a very good approach. Okay. And he also quoted the central bank governor that Gambia being a free market, country, they coming up with certain regulations as a government or as an institution responsible for, the maintenance and control of when it comes to monetary policy and fiscal policy. The central bank also have to come in place to ensure there is that regulation, because you cannot also allow, even though it's a free market, but the central bank also must have to come, time to time to regulate the market. That when it comes to dollarization of issues that you want to, as a country, you want to do your businesses, conduct your businesses through the dollar, the pounds. I think that is, if you allow such kind of things to continue, then the country's the country's monetary aspect is compromised. So as an institution, the central bank governor have to ensure that those things are regulated, and all those found wanting must also face the full force of the law.
But on the Hajj,
on the Hajj too, the price is, like you said, is too expensive for an ordinary Gambian. But he stated that most of the those going for pilgrim, they gotten their funds from their relatives.
Remittances.
Yes, from their relatives, because you and I.
So like every other thing now, we want to build houses, we have to have remittances.
Yeah,
we want to feed the family, we have to have remittances. We want to go to Makkah.
So like he has said, Saudi also, they have their own approach, reducing the number of pilgrims that are going to visit the holy sites, but also the cost. because they don't want to lose.
So what they lose in the population,
What they lose from it, yes, so they also make it for that.
And in the prices.
In the prices.
They cover all that.
But you've also said something very important. Is it because of the Gambia we don't have an airline? I think that also is key. Yeah. Once we have an airline, then the airline operators must also ensure.
But he said that will not change the fact.
No, it can't change.
The plane has to be fuel.
It can change because as an airline operator, they know these are all costs that they ought to. In as much as they have an standing airline, so they know how to do all those things. They know how to negotiate. But you cannot be relying on a foreign airline. There's a cost. There must be costs, besides it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But let me come to India. We must learn from our neighbor countries.
Yes.
Africans are not very good to have a national airline. We have learned that.
We have collapsed.
Our neighboring countries, they have been having national airlines, but they are always bankrupt.
Nigeria is the worst.
Not only Nigeria,
Ghana.
even our closest neighbor.
Senegal been doing very well in the past.
They are doing well.
Very recently, and the Air Morocco also has stepped in. It's something that I really know. It's not an easy thing to run. The only country in Africa that has good result of running their national airline is Ethiopia. That's all. Without Ethiopia, you cannot tell me any country in Africa. Even South Africa, I'm telling you, they encounter a lot of difficulties in Washington, in the airport because of the quality and the service the airline did. It's not an easy thing. It's just like running your own private car. At times, running your own private car can be more expensive than hiring a taxi. Exactly.
Yeah, because I can go with $100 to go to Bakau. And back.
But if I want
to go with my car, I have to put 300 or more.
You can't also say if Ethiopia are able to maintain their airline, we are able to for so long, and in fact it's one of the best airline operators in Africa, and they are keeping that momentum. Can't the Gambia also?
Well, we had one. You remember Air Gambia? Millennium Air. Gambia Airways, Gambia Air Shuttle. I don't know.
Yes.
But all of them, they are without aircraft. Running a national airline, you have to have aircraft that the country owns, and you need to have the technocrats.
Yes,
that run the aircraft. Look, an aircraft is not like a car. No. It needs so many things. And wherever you fly, there's a huge cost for it again. So really, I wish we can have our national airline. But if that can contribute to the to lower our price of pilgrims, I'm telling you, it's going to increase. In other aspect of our foreign exchange and the like. It's not an easy thing. Though we have our experts, we have our economists, they can look into it.
Yeah, they can. But if you want to rely too much on foreign, there could be a time that when they say we cannot provide it.
Imam, what about the other protocols? It was, in the first place, it is the COVID that really led us to the sharp reduction of our quota of more than 100% now. Even up to now, given the restrictions, let's say the easing of restrictions of travel as far as COVID protocols is concerned, is Saudi still tight?
No, I understand they have relaxed the COVID restriction, and they have opened their mosques, but of course with limitation of numbers. But even the distance is no longer there now, and they are not using their masks. Only for those who have taken the vaccination and have their proofs that they have taken the vaccination. That's why to travel to South this year, you need to have your yellow card and your COVID vaccine card, and then you have to have it also within 72 hours before a COVID test before you arrive in Malta.
So which brings to the issue, people flying today or tomorrow, what happened in the case they tested positive?
Well, anybody tested positive will be quarantined wherever they find it.
No, I mean, if you're positive in Gambia, would you even be allowed to travel?
You cannot travel. That is an
so at the moment, there can be an issue of a pilgrim who is already set and fails a COVID test and won't go.
Well, God forbid.
God forbid.
God forbid. What is very possible But as at now, everybody have been tested.
Oh, very
and
good.
Everybody, they are in a very high gears now. They are all
Everybody's negative.
Everybody is negative,
Fantastic.
and they are well set.
That's the good
and
news.
hopefully, they will not pick up anything before there.
No. So, no, that's the good news. Everybody has now tested negative,
Definitely,
and they will fly out today.
Definitely.
The procedure at the airport. I mean, normally I know the civil aviation gives you, or GIA gives you, the old terminal to operate from. I was myself involved in the coverage, arrivals and departures. How is it going to be like today?
Well, it's going to be the same. There is no much change. The procedure will be the same as it was years back. And they are all set for it. And we'll be there by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, sure.
Inshallah, with our badges to have access to our pilgrims. And then we'll be there with them with the Minister of Religious Affairs and some relatives as well.
As well as the media, of
Yes,
course.
of course the media.
I will be there.
You people are all over.
Well, Austas, you have, before I let you two have something in common. I mean, he also deals with human rights issues from a security point of view. You are a member of the Human Rights Commission. And the police were in Parliament 2 or 3 days ago, meeting the Parliamentary Committee on Human Rights issues there. How, before you leave, do you think the police has improved in terms of human rights observation in the country now, in their operations? Because before, of course, we used, mostly soldiers or army, but then there were issues like, police, how do they handle rioters, how do they handle violent criminals, and what happened after detention conditions. How have that improved from your experience?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it has improved a lot. Not only the police, but even the detention centers. In terms of cleanliness, in terms of maintenance, in terms of their food, because we are consistently observing, checking, visiting. And really comparing with the previous years, it has improved a lot. But mind you, there is no country in the world that have 100% human rights in terms of detention or criminal or police. Really, because the police, they deal with criminals according to
how they rate
what the criminal demand. Because at times criminals can be very dangerous.
Oh yes,
they can be armed, they can be otherwise. So if you want to deal with them humanly, you may end up being the victim.
You kill yourself.
You understand? So really, we understand that as a commission, and we also all believe that police need more sensitization, and we work with them because one thing is important to know. Police are part of us. They are our family. And National Human Rights Commission is part of the family, not an issue of they and we. No, we have to be in it together. Even the criminals, they are criminals. But there are ways and means that we need to deal with them in order to convince them that what they are doing is not the right thing to do. And at times you can get them out of the criminality. Because, circumstances and the way of life of our country at times can create even their own criminals. The mass unemployment, the poverty level, and the laziness on our youth, and loving to enjoy the best cream of the country without sweating for it, all those things are factors. And to bring them on board, we have to negotiate with them, we have to sensitize them, we have to work with the police. And the police have to trust us. At times we are accused of citing the criminal. At times we are accused of citing the, we have a lot of problems.
I have said that your commission has been critical on very issues. I remember you ordered for compensation for a certain victim seen to have been harassed or maybe high-handedly, handled by the police, and you ordered for a compensation. And I don't want to bring the human rights issue in as a topic of the program because it was the Hajj, but you wear two caps. Still now, what are the kind of complaints that come from the people? Are they mainly from how they were handled by security, how they were handled by government, or in between themselves?
We have lot of different complaints. We have land issues here, we have some discriminatory issues there. But all of them, they listen. And the moment they listen, they are easy to talk with. And Gambia, as it is a very small country. We all know each other. If I'm to go and meet the IG today, I'm not going to meet a strange man. No, I'm going to meet somebody that I know. And you know, that makes things easy. But as I just said, 100% of human rights issues are not met yet. Nowhere in the world. But really, our policemen are improving very well, and I believe with the kind of parliamentarians I see this year, it will help a lot. It will help a lot.
I mean, the police were there, and we saw how they handled the police in terms of that. But finally, before we take leave of you, in terms of still human rights and of course the Hajj, any final words?
Yeah, the final word is just to say thank you very much to the media, because the media also are doing very good job by sensitizing and disseminating the information and bringing people to be really aware of our problems and trying to work out for solution. Because if you look at our neighboring countries, they have more problems than we do. You know better than I.
You know, I didn't want to drag it. Only last week we were discussing and looking for sound minds to analyze the Senegalese problem and how it may affect us. You're proper. Let me use the back door to ask you finally, what do you make of that?
But actually, you know, you call it Senegalese problem, but Senegalese problem is a Gambian problem.
Well, that's what we
because we are within Senegal.
Absolutely.
So whatever happened to Senegal, let us just pray that let it be peace.
Peace, absolutely.
Because if not, the pinch, we all will feel it. Okay. So really, I strongly believe. In fact, I mentioned in my sermon yesterday.
Oh, right.
Yes, asking people to be more responsible, because I mean, demonstration doesn't mean setting fire.
Yeah.
And setting fire, if that is the only process that one can use,
it's a very common feature of protest. Setting tires on fire.
But whenever it helps you to get what you need, that same method will fight you against. It will haunt you back. You know. So really, I believe in dialogue. I believe in sensitization. I believe in peaceful process rather than creative.
So, I mean, what's ahead of Senegal is a potentially very controversial or electoral process. I mean, there have been the disqualification of certain lists. There are suspicions that the president wants to stay for another term, contrary to his own beliefs and proclamations and the laws. So those are the issues. If people like you who work in the human rights and in religious want to really send a message to this others, how would you have addressed it?
I will just send my message straightforward to both of them. The 3-year term become a problem.
The 3-term problem is
third-term
problem.
Yeah, third-term problem become a big problem
in Africa itself.
And I wonder if Senegalese are ready to stand for it.
It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like. The indications are not favorable.
Yeah.
And at the same time, our president has done all what they can. Work of a nation, no single person can complete it.
No.
You just do your quota and get out, and someone else comes.
Good legacy.
And you know, if you really look at the situation, life after presidency at times can be more enjoyable.
In fact, it's
and
more
peaceful.
enjoyable.
Exactly.
It's more enjoyable
than sticking in position. But most of our leaders, even if they want to leave, their surrogates will not allow them to leave.
I was going there because they said, one philosopher said, if they stay too long in power, instead of them being one in charge, they found themselves to be a tool of
someone.
Lobby groups who want them to stay.
Yeah.
Exactly. You will see your surrogate will ask you, if you leave, where are you going to happen and what are you going to do?
Yes.
And the other thing, during the process of your leadership, you may commit certain crimes that you will be worried of. They can be hunt you back. So those things can try to force you to link on power. And linking on power cannot be permanent. That's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
I mean, you are aware, of course, the measures that ECOWAS took. And I'm glad that Gambia is among the 12 countries in the 15 member countries who agreed that the protocol on good governance, the article on good governance, democracy and good governance, now they want to inscribe there that all heads of states of ECOWAS must stay for 2 terms.
2 terms.
No other argument, whether I have started my term after this law has changed in my country or whether this one. No. They just say, if you serve 2 terms, no other argument, let's put in there, you should go. Interestingly, Senegal, Ivory Coast, and Togo are the only
refuse to sign.
Senegal.
Yeah, you know, they are the people making the law, but they are the people also violating the law.
It's very disappointing. Senegal has a very good reputation.
Really?
In terms of democracy,
yes. In terms of
but
very good reputation.
It happens, I think, in 2014, 15, when Gambia was represented by the former Vice President Asadu Jassedi on the issue of this term limit, and it was the Gambia and Togo that failed.
Yeah.
That opposed.
But we are glad that the Gambia actually is among the 15 countries this time around. And the heads of state will. I mean, the whole thing is planned on July 3 when they meet in Accra. They should just finalize these things.
Yeah,
but they still have the opposition from Senegal, Guinea, Togo, and Ivory Coast, to contend with.
Yeah, really, it's a sad situation because Senegal being our elder brother.
Absolutely. Everybody look up to Senegal.
Yeah, everybody look, and they have very good reputation in terms of democracy. But mind you, Gambia has overtaken Senegal in terms of democracy and human rights.
Yes.
They have overtaken them, seriously. Because Gambia today, as I speak, we have A status,
exactly,
which is a big thing, and Senegal is B status.
Look at that. And from the way Macky is going, we probably may leave him behind.
No, of course, that can deter, I mean, their progress seriously. But with the kind of government we have a very listening government.
Exactly.
Whether they implement at the end or not, but they listen.
But they listen and they understand.
And they understand the issues.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, it seems to me that they want to score the ball.
Yes.
Really.
They really, from what we have seen in the new cabinet and the pronouncements, at least there's somebody or some people who now know the issues. Because in the past, our concern have been, does these people even know the issues?
Yeah,
but now, we're happy that there are people, or at least a person or two, who know the real issues.
Yeah,
So like you said, what is left is whether practically...
Exactly.
That could be the worst thing, if know it and we are not implementing.
No, but at least somebody knows it now.
It's next to nothing.
But let us not be prejudiced. Let us not be prejudiced. Let us hope the best.
Yes.
That as they know it, because opposition and other stakeholders used to call them a clueless government.
Oh, that's right.
But that name has gone.
That's gone.
Now they are no longer clueless.
That is the major
they know
now.
exactly the issues. Especially with the new vice president. He is bold enough
to
address the issues with all challenges that the government is facing.
That is the good part of it.
Yeah, and as I only pray that he will have the support
and the
leeway he deserves, and the leeway, because
I object. The vice was part of the cabinet 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, we argued that in
he was part of the cabinet.
Let me plan.
Okay.
He was part of the cabinet, and he's a technocrat if you follow his career. He understands a lot of things.
Yeah.
And he became from the permanent secretary. He started from that lower cadre up to a permanent secretary to a minister. Minister of Higher Education. And we have seen issues affecting the tertiary institutions. And though Gambia being somehow very dynamic in terms of trying to address the issues that definitely needs to be addressed, but he being a minister, he knows the challenges.
Yes.
And he has, I know there was that cordial relationship between him and the current President Barrow and his predecessor. So he could this is a cabinet they are sitting. The cabinet they always have weekly cabinet meetings. And I guess those things were addressed at the cabinet, like he has stated unequivocally that these things need to be fixed. Everybody commends him for that. That yes, he has spoken as number 2 man of the state. And I guess other ones would also do the same,
follow suit
to ensure. But now we are now waiting. the government is almost about 6 months.
Yes.
If you have to rate the government, not in
Yes,
terms of the
they're still
occupants,
fixing the
not in terms
government.
of
Yesterday,
yes,
the new
not
minister,
only
they are
the
not
occupants,
completed.
those occupying the position, but now trying to address the living conditions, to improve the living condition of people. We have seen, commodities being, week in,
But he
week out,
mentioned that,
so those things. Okay, mentioning those things, where are the regulatory mechanisms?
They're coming up with issues.
But firstly, we have to sit and then wait.
If I understand you well, Imam, if I understand him well, what he's trying to say is, how much difference can the vice president bring about when he actually was there in the last 5 years? The argument that has been to counter that was that, okay, as minister, yes, if you had problems with his ministry and you said, okay, probably he didn't perform adequately, okay, you may have a valid point now. But this new position now gives him now oversight over so many other issues. And his willingness and admitting that these are problems is really a great departure from the lackluster.
Yes, I accept this. I accepted that.
Yeah.
No,
let's rate him in the next 3 months to see.
No, but the fact remains that all his process since after leaving high school, he's been involved in education, in academic,
even in local government,
administration. So he's a seasoned person.
Absolutely.
And that gives him the way and the opportunity to know globally our problems and to suggest solutions, which he has already done. And then we should not see him as he was there because he was there as a minister.
Absolutely.
He was not there as a vice president, and their mandates are different.
Exactly.
Their powers are different.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
But so far we can say so far so good.
Exactly.
The beginning is very good.
Absolutely.
We know a hungry person don't need you to ask him to wash his hand.
No.
Just if you give him the food to eat. But really, if you compare him with all the previous vice presidents, all what he needs is courage. Let us give him the courage
and encouragement.
And his colleagues also work with him.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, we are the beneficiaries.
Exactly.
You understand?
Okay. Malik, Ustaz, before you go, there's something else on our topic, which is the abolition of the Rosewood trade. I mean, it's broke in the news yesterday that
abolition of what?
The United Nations have banned the trade in Rosewood trade. That means all those who have license in the Gambia, or the Gambia cannot now issue license at all for the trade in Rosewood. But then, before we end, we have Radio Gambia, well, as we used to know it, celebrating 60 years of broadcasting. Now, I have on the line now one of the faces we knew, we have been listening to, and we want him to tell us tell us about his experience in involvement with the national broadcaster, which is 60 years old. And he's Malik Jones. Malik, may I begin by addressing you Sam Jones, because when I started listening to you in the 70s, it was Sam Jones. Can you tell us Sam Jones' history with Radio Gambia, who's celebrating 60 years? Congratulations, first of all. I like your accuracy. You said on the 1980. Wow, I like your emphasis on accuracy. Yes, so that's really 40 years or nearly 40 years ago. How did you find Radio Gambia then, and how have you transformed yourself and the institution over the last 40 years or so?
When I got into Radio Gambia, I think I sat along with Abdullah Ziran and Christina Thomas. Well, we were the youngest of the broadcasting outfit there at Radio Gambia. It was like, there were a galaxy of star broadcasters at the time. And it was very difficult for us at that time to get into news reading. So one of the areas where we competed for and tried to pierce through the galaxy of stars that were at the Gambia was what we call continuity announcing.
Continuity announcing.
yes, continuity announcing, and of course doing the news summary at midnight at that time.
Okay.
When I mentioned a galaxy of stars at the moment, at that time, those that we found there, here were the likes of Joy Coker, Femi Jeng, Aboram Boj, Nelly McDowell, Jenna Banyang, Maria Carvalho, Sol Njai, Deliba Tambidu, Ibrahim Cole, our boss himself was there, Marcel Tomasi. These were absolutely fantastic people who worked at Radio Gambia at the time, especially my two role models who were Femi Jeng, the late Femi Jeng, he passed away in the coup d'etat
Yes, so we got
1981, and of course Marcel Tomasi, simply because those two people, we have the same voice range, we are all bassists, we all have a deep resonating voice. So I used to remember that when I first went into Radio Gambia to do what they call a voice test to get the employment, the guy who was sitting on the console, that's the mix of the panel, he told me, I don't know whether you will get this job, but one thing I can assure you is that you have a great voice.
Yes.
Well, that was encouraging. Eventually, I got the job as a temporary English announcer. Actually, it didn't last long. In 1981, we went on strike. The whole of Radio Gambia went on strike, the announcers, because of some of the conditions we found there.
Okay.
As temporary English announcers, I think myself, Adiswell, and Christiana were sacked immediately, and the others were suspended indefinitely.
Wow, interesting.
Nelly McDowell, Jenna Banyang, Maria Carvalho, Joy Coker, and the rest, they were suspended temporarily. But they gave us the assurance that, look guys, we will not let you down. It's either all of us get back to work or we all sit out. Eventually the issue was resolved and we all went back at Radio Gambia.
And that was under the late Swaibu, I guess?
Pardon?
It must have been under the late Swaibu Konate as director of information.
It was under Swaibu.
Okay. Good. You know what many people said? They said the quality of broadcasting at the time. Are you with me, Malik?
Well,
good. Yeah, because let me finish. I mean, whether it was part of the recruitment policy, the quality of recruitment policy, they said each one of you people, the people you found there and the ones you came with, if any of them takes the microphone and say a word or two, you naturally know that this guy has a broadcaster's voice. Unlike these days, what has changed?
What has changed today is that, that is a good one. What has changed today is the fact that you just employ somebody today, tomorrow is on air.
I see.
Now we have to sit out for a very, very long time before we could even grab a microphone to talk. I remember at that time, people used to call Radio Gambia Radio Congo.
Yes.
Because the entire country was not listening to Radio Gambia. We were not hearing Radio Gambia.
Yes.
So we grabbed, for me and Aziz, we grabbed an opportunity because we were asked to go to Basse to broadcast there. So it was in Basse that we were able to do a lot of practice. We were doing morning express programs, we were doing news, 1 o'clock news and stuff like that. So by the time we came back from Basse, well, we were already,
comfortable with the microphone.
I got back from Basse. I was actually in control, and like I told you before, I have a superior voice quality, which I still maintain.
Absolutely. 40 years down.
That was what propelled us, and the fact that, as Radio Gambia, people like Marcel Tomasi wanted to give us the opportunity to excel. You understand?
Yeah.
And then, luckily for me, in 1984, I left Gambia and I went to Cairo to do my diploma in mass communications. That also helped a great deal when I came back. So, as you just said, what I don't want to see right now is that you employ somebody today, you take that person on the air, the person wants to say she, she said she wants to say she,
Yes, that's common now. Yeah, I know.
It was not winning. I mean, let's call it spade a spade.
Yeah.
Those are crimes that I cannot forgive anyway.
Absolutely. Now, finally, of course, how do you think should be a reflection of people, the people who work there and the Gambian people on the institution as it celebrates 60 years today?
Well, 60 years is a long time. I think what Radio Gambia should have done today was to try to honor certain individuals, some individuals, people who have graduated from Radio Gambia and have become ministers, people who have graduated from Radio Gambia and become Director Generals of the affairs, people who have graduated from Radio Gambia and have become Speaker of the National Assembly. We have all these kind of people from Radio Gambia. We have people who were historians, the like of Alaji Mansour Jai, the late Alaji Mansour Jai, the late Alaji Chamju, people who were in Radio Gambia became dramatists, people like Martha Tomasi. I mean, people like me who have gone to the World Cup to commentate to the BBC World Service. I mean, these are things that we have achieved. You know what I mean in this country is that when people achieve something, they do not come out and tell you you've done something well, you've done something, you say, bravo. Someone like Neda McDonald was Minister of Communications.
Yes.
Someone like Dr. Jani was Minister of Communications. Dr. John Pasise was the Speaker of the National Assembly. These are all people who have come from Radio Gambia. Why come you go cry there? Soldier bound, you know.
I tell you.
And that's what they have done. I wouldn't say I was going to boycott the occasion today. I would go. Because Radio Gambia,
You have to go.
For us, Radio Gambia was like an
Institution, yeah.
We learned a lot from Radio Gambia.
Absolutely.
Everything that we have today,
Yeah.
God bless Radio Gambia.
And if you stay a little bit on the line, you will hear a bit from my own experience and that of Imam Baba Leigh and a professor, sorry, a lecturer in the studio about Radio Gambia. Let me go straight to Imam Leigh. Imam, what were your earliest memories of Radio Gambia? Because you must have been.
Well, I can remember of Radio Gambia in 1969.
69?
Yeah, when I was admitted at the hospital, RBH.
You were a patient then?
Yes, at that time.
How old were you then?
Well, I
would be in your
can't
20s.
exactly tell. No, not 20.
10.
They used to give patients
Yes.
these earphones
yes.
to listen when Radio Gambia become on air.
Look at that.
It used to be very interesting. At that time it was Mr. Lowe and then
Badulo.
Yes.
I had the name Badulo.
Exactly, and Cham Juf.
Cham Juf, yes.
You know,
Malik mentioned it.
You know, Mansour Njai.
Mansour, of course.
Very interesting at that time.
Okay.
So, you know, since then I become very friendly to radios.
Radios.
You know, I never go to bed without listening
radio.
to radio.
I know.
But when Malik Jones
Yes.
joined the team,
Yeah.
it became very interesting for me. I enjoy listening his voice.
Exactly.
You know, Marcel Tomasi,
Ibrahim
Nene
Coles.
Magdol,
Yeah.
Nyang. You know, we are very great people.
Yeah.
But as he rightly said, Gambian will never celebrate our heroes.
their own heroes.
We never celebrate our heroes.
That's no problem.
You know, and these people are far better than even people like Asad Aroni.
Of course.
And others.
They did. In fact, Malik, time now for me to tell you my experience. You know, I would say I owe my inspiration to journalism to Radio Gambia because I was very young when I was introduced to radio. I think it was, they said there was a transmission in Bondo. When I was young in primary school, I didn't know what it's about. I hear my uncle saying, please tune to Bondo, Bondo Mutabang, Bondo Mutabang. I said, what is Bondo? Then it was later in life that I know that, okay, there was a medium wave transmitter they put in Bondo. I think it was in 79 or 80, I don't know when was it, 77 or 75. Then, you know, I started listening regularly. I listen so regularly that some of you people, once you are introducing the news, even before you come with your name, I will come out with the names. And the people sitting around say, how do you know this man is this? I said, I know the voices. I know the voices. And then, you know, through Radio Gambia, you know, at the time when I was listening, I was young, BBC World Service used to come, the world news first at 1 o'clock, and then the Gambian news will follow. Then you had the news at 10, which always feature Focus on Africa. programs and other world news. So I got through knowledge about the world through Radio Gambia, and that's where my inspiration came. And I have to thank people like you, Malik Jones, Boram Boj, Sol Njai. In fact, some people used to call me Sol Njai when I was in the class, because we used to have reports, you know, students will write reports and read it to the class. Then, you know, the Maria Calvalos, whom I've never seen in life actually, the Joy Coker, Nene McDowell, the Ibrahim Coles, the Amidjuf Coles, the Yamai Jacks. I can't just finish the list. The Maimuna Bas, some of them, those who have gone, Maimuna Ba, Lalo Samate, Alaji Mansu.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me take you a little bit behind.
Okay.
There were guys like, Sidi Jame was the first Gambian to do football commentary.
Sidi Jame, in fact, few days ago I was talking with him online.
There was Ransford Klein.
Ransford Klein,
when
yes.
he left Radio Gambia,
Yes.
went to work for UN Radio. You see, I think Radio Gambia, they failed to do the organizing committee of the 60th anniversary failed to do adequate research. You know, there's a lot of things, I mean, that is absent in whatever documentary they're doing or whoever they're interviewing. I haven't heard them make mention of those key people. I mean, the likes of Alhaji Badulo, they should have gone to see who their offsprings are. You understand? Talk to them.
Absolutely.
Talk to people like Babukar Gay.
Babukar Gay,
was the one who
the late.
started news on Radio Gambia.
Look at that.
It was his idea.
Oh,
But you know, these kids will not remember all of these things, and they did not go and find out and talk to people who were there.
You know, Malik, I pray God keep you here for the 61st or the 70th anniversary. Perhaps we will obviously there will be a better job of the organization. But I thank you very much for all the inspiration, Malik.
Pleasure.
Thank you. There you have it. To round up, of course, we wanted to deal with the Rosewood trade, but the specialists who investigated are not in the studio. But in passing, very quickly, Radio Gambia.
Yeah.
When did you start your earlier experience with Radio Gambia?
Radio Gambia, my earlier experience of Radio Gambia could be in the.
It's a small boy.
Well, let it go.
Could be in the. In 1992, I used to listen to Fatou Jamano. You know, every Sunday.
He passed away not long ago.
Every Sunday we used to sit, and then the whole family would come and listen.
Were you not listening to Kameka Jola?
Kameka Jola, the same thing.
Modu Sayang.
Modu Sayang, exactly.
Do you remember Sekubia?
No, I don't know.
He was too young.
But Modu Sayang and Modu Sayang, the 9 o'clock, the Jola 9 o'clock news.
Yeah. What about Bunjang?
No, Bunjang. I think Bunjang passed away when I was young.
92,
94. I was in grade 6.
But then he was regular on radio. His voice was
early morning. You know, that was early morning. You have to listen
to Wolof Mandinka.
You know, Wolof Mandinka. When you wake up early morning, you listen to the likes of Bunjang. You listen to the. I also, I found of listening to news all the time. Even you yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I used to
freelance.
Yes, I used to Lamin Cham, Lamin Cham, we have Malik Jones himself, when he's reading news, Hadibaji, Boramboy, and I also had the opportunity to also part of the securities of GRTS. I worked at Fajara Barracks.
When you were in the military?
When I was in the military, so the very day I was posted to provide security there, I had to go around and see the building, the structure.
The people whose voices you have.
Even in their studio, I just walk and peeping. I say, so this is how
the voices come from.
There's this Wolof news reader. It's an old man.
Aliu retired.
He's a tall guy. I think.
Aliu Joe or Sering Fai.
So when he's going to the studio, he will come to sit beside us and then has a piece of paper where he's summarizing, making summary. So I said, but this man is a specialist. You know how he's going to do this. So it's and since then I also love taking part with the media all along.
Fantastic.
You know, some time ago I spoke. Yasin Jiba would also invite me in my Jola dialect. Jola program.
I remember Kameka Jola was one of the first Jola programs on the radio.
But I think now
it's Sanyang and before him Shekubia.
I told them once they are ready, they can call me. I'm very fluent in my Jola language, so I think I appreciate the whole media fraternity for ensuring that people come on board and then taking part of this kind of actions. So
Kebba Gibba, thank you very much for sharing your time with the brunch. And Alhaji Ustaz Imam Baba Leigh, he is a member of the Human Rights Commission of the Human Rights Commission, as well as a member of the National Hajj Committee, who are very busy, supervising the first flights out of Banjul today of Gambian pilgrims. Ustaz, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much, Cham.
Good, and we will meet at the airport, inshallah.
Thank you, Jiba, but he was teaching me.
It's full of Jola houses here. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week. Goodbye for now.
Thank you very much.
Kendall, how do you solar lampol make it slow? Can the Manila for a solar enterprise?
For the Mumble and Yambanko can get them.
Sumanu baro kunjurunko ikonga faleko namu badabanda bila sola la eni Gambia bino Gambia sola enter na sola enterprise sola nimbati kendo kurao de dasala aboro sinenamo kaji sena odila Gambia sola enter na sola enter na sola enterprise. Jaliwo sola kende soto jali man fofina o sola kende soto sola enterprise na enterprise sumanu baro kunjurunko.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Assalamualaikum nan lañ rek waaw togge gi ñor na te waaw hankay luñ wax cin bu naré neex bu baxé xet gi jolli xet gaa ngi jolli all over town lawa. Home again. This is home away from home. Lépp loo xam ne rek da ngeen ñëw holidays namoon ko Gambia fii manaan lañ rek bismillah hankañ egsi lañ mu ngi nii weddi gis ayu cere ñu ngi nii nag nekkal lañ fii ci diggi Manjai ñu ngi on the Manjai Kotu Highway ci boori lan Atlas bi waaw ci right next to the Atlas duma sax introduce bagage yi parce que bagage yi moom am sonné waaw kër Fatou def na ba baax dina lañ ko bennaal ngeen gis ko yëpp naan lañ nag anything loo lañ na ma rek boo dee gisu lañ ko fii ni ngeen di def rek mooy ni ngeen ko taamoo defee rek reng ma ne la aha nga ne ma loo bëgga waaw doo lañ bëgga rek ñu indil lañ ko muy Kirkland water muy Moss apple juice muy apple eve lu mu di nekk rek kañ so Charles mën nañoo doxantoo nii tuuti rek moom ma jéema woon gars yi rek liñ leen fi amal pine sola ngoog coffee mate ngoog waaw citronella candles bu dee you like being outdoors toog ci biti di enjoy the outdoors indil nañ leen different versions of citronella candles ñoo ngi nii neexet nag ba bëgg a dee waaw bu dee sonn ngeen ci muntaay ga laa wax de kañ ñoo ngi nii Domino sugar, different kinds of coffee. My favorite in the entire store is this sardine. Sardine B, don't go like it hang sardine. I've had two already and enough. But I'm wow, be my fave in the whole store. Seasonings. Lépp loo lañ soxloon ci seasonings indil nañ leen ko. muy lemon pepper bi black pepper the Caribbean jerk seasoning so bëggee def sa jerk seasoning muy jerk chicken muy jerk lamb this is the one and only seasoning bi nga xam ne rek moom ngeen soxla for that jerk different types of oil this is my new oil now avocado oil lu moo def cholesterol ñaari façon la LDL am na HDL am na so avocado oil li moo def mooy dafa yokk cholesterol bu baax bi bu ko defee mu wàññi cholesterol bu bon bi waaw am a health fanatic kay lépp lu ma lekk rek dama ko bëgg di bàyyi xel si secondaire yi nag na ngeen fexe nag ba bu lañ ma simi xam naa di ngeen ne fi mu nekk nii nag mu ngi ci li ko gën a neex loolu mooy lan mooy jaay affaire yi lekk bi Neosporin dafa nekk over the counter garab boo xam ne famille bu nekk war nañ ko mën a am ci seen kër xale yi buñ daanoo buruusu tuuti rek gaañu koo nga am koo xam ne dafa diabetic nekk sa kër this is a must have danga ko cee def rek mu daal di rek wér king waaw Neosporin na ngoog lépp loo xam ne rek most of the things I use at home I try to bring for you guys in town waaw tiki ngoog tiki torch you know bii mun nga koo def rek ci sa balcony yi mbaa ci lawn bi dafa daaxa yooyu waaw muntaay ga tubaab moo nekk nii then tiki refill la bee nekk nii yii nii citronella oils lañ yii those are different versions of tiki nga xam ne yooyu mun nga koo def rek at the deck the balcony outdoors you wanna chill out kañ yooyu noonu la cereals yi nii tamit these are all healthy cereals bi is my favorite organic la moom tamit xam naa diggante dimbale ñoo organic waa cereal boo xam ne la dafa am pumpkin seeds ak flax seeds ak granola moo ngi nii am nañ different versions we have that one and we have that one as well apple juice xale yaa ngi fi wala juice xale yi laa mun a wax bi apple eve it reminds me of back in the days mooy bi suma xale yi gënee nekk ndaw you know I used to love these juices emuñ rek si Capri Sun emuñ rek si Kool-Aid but dañ leen indil apple eve ba pare nag indil lañ tamit honest for organic kids waaw so noonu la bu dee nag yaa ngi am sa office and nga bugg rek covid affaire baa ngi nii hand sanitizer in a super duper size kay moo ngi nii de xam ngeen ne nag lu ma def rek duma ko cof dama ko def ba mot moo ngi nii hand sanitizer baa ngi nii a big size malo yaa ngi nii si secondaire yi ana ngeen excellent different types of rice are all here so we just setting up ñu ngi just set up ñu ngi yokk more stuff as a matter of fact suñ new shipment baa ngi war a exit tey boobu dina war a am adult diapers you know the dispense ak yeneen so ñu ngi right here on Manjai Highway sori wuñ ak Atlas bi used to be Elton léegi Atlas la ñu ngi jàkkaarloo ak Dr. Slab waaw so I think those are very good landmarks so place bi na xariwta am naxariwta xam at all. And most importantly, di nga am space for park. So ñëwee all you gotta do is park nice and neat outside. Loo jënd ñu dukki indil la ko ba ci sa biir moto.